Hello, won't be a second. So, I was trying to think of what it is we could discuss today, and I was going to write something about manifesting and get into the nitty-gritty of that, but my brain just isn't there today. And about the only thing that I can raise myself to open a discussion about is this one. So countries are spiritual now. What do you mean by that, Gabriel? They're all democratic, they're not spiritual. Oh, I forgot my microphone again. They're not spiritual. Well, it's to do with the Dalai Lama. Might lose the sound for just a second. I think we're back. Well, it's to do with the Dalai Lama. I'm a bit sad about it, to be honest. He's come out and said that he's basically found his successor in the next life. So a life has been located, and the Dalai Lama said, that's forward, that's where I'm going. That's where the Dalai Lama's going. He's going to a new life, and he knows that from now. And that process is called reincarnation. That's all okay, because the Dalai Lama is spiritual. He's allowed to say weird stuff like that. I'm allowed to say weird stuff like that, because I say I'm spiritual. Your average man says it on the street, he's weird. There's no reason for him to say it. So, the Dalai Lama has come out and said, yep, next life is sorted. I am that spiritual. Done. And for some strange reason, China, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, a communist party based in no, we don't know. I don't know enough about democracy, if it spread to the communist world. I believe it did. Yeah, I'm really not clued up on politics, but that's a political company. We're going to call it a political company. And it's called China. And I know China had an issue with Tibet, and they did some really nasty things that I don't know enough about in Tibet. That still troubles me. It just like, I went to see the Dalai Lama once, and there was loads of people outside protesting for everything that was going on in Tibet against, well, it must have been against China. So I've been aware of this thing that China's not done good things in Tibet, and basically they kicked the Dalai Lama out of his own home. And he's a refugee in India from his own home. Only the other day I was thinking, he hasn't spoken much, he hasn't said much to the world. We used to hear of, at least I did, Dalai Lama would always pop up every so often to my awareness, and I don't really follow the news, or at least haven't done in the past. So if someone gets in and says, I'm spiritual, here's something, here's a message for today, I take a note of it. And the Dalai Lama used to put stuff out there to the world. But he's getting older, I get it. I'll tell you the thing that hurts is not too far away from here, about 3 miles some years ago, I was walking down the road and I was near the canals and there's a bridge. And by the bridge there was like a brick wall, not like a brick wall, a brick wall. And on that brick wall was a beautiful painting, as I remember it, of the Dalai Lama. And a statement from the Dalai Lama saying, before I die, I will step foot back in Tibet. So one of two things is happening. Either the Dalai Lama is telling porkies on one of those matters. And if he's telling porkies on one of those matters, he could be telling porkies on both of those matters. Or it could just be a really sad story. A really, really sad story. That we've totally lost spirituality as a species. One of the top spiritual people in the world, the Dalai Lama, has been reincarnating for hundreds of years. Huge significance on a spiritual level to planet Earth. And the man said with determination, at least that's how I read the statement, before I die, I'm going to step foot back in Tibet. So I'm a bit confused why the Dalai Lama's coming out now and talking about his next life, if he's still got work here. Anyway, I got off on a tangent. The whole point is, that's the situation. I've got a little upset about the Dalai Lama saying he's found his next life when there's still work to do. I'm all about spiritual work. And I will put God down if I have to when it comes to spiritual work. Please, God, tell me, why haven't you fixed everything in the world? Why isn't it Atlantis 2.0? I'm waiting on the answer to that one. But our buddy, the Dalai Lama, has still got work. He needs to step foot back in Tibet before he dies. And he's getting on. And China is a really hard cookie, because this political company comes out and says, hang on a second, only China gets to decide your incarnation. What does China know about reincarnation? They're a political company. Then not only that, as a political company, they're behaving like a political company in the spiritual realm, trying to dictate to the Dalai Lama, no, you can't reincarnate where you say. We have the say, because what? Because we invaded your home country. That means we get to say that we decide your future life? You mean you don't only own my life in this life, you own my life in the next life? Because you kicked me out of my home and done atrocities all to my homeland? Is it just a head trip? Do they just... I can't understand it. They're a political company, so whatever it is, whatever reason, they had beef with Tibet and the Dalai Lama and Tibetan Buddhism. They had beef. But it was as a political company. There's got to have been some logic that said, these are bad people to us. They must be bad we need to invade. Something's bad. Oh no, they're doing weird spirituality. Tibetan Buddhism is weird spirituality compared to our real to our real Chinese Buddhism. Tibetan Buddhism is weird. And weird Buddhism means we can invade your country. Fine. But what does weird Buddhism mean? Does it mean I understand Buddhism to the level of enlightenment and what reincarnation really means, hiding here as a political company, not doing a shit thing for the world? How do we read it? Why are they getting involved? They're either hate the Dalai Lama with such rage that they want to get into his head about the man passing on to his next life. When they've kicked him, he's not even in the country. This one's caught my attention. I don't know what to do about it. What's the answer? The answer is, I think I need to sort the world out, help my mate and our buddy, the Dalai Lama, resolve all of the world's tensions and political indifferences, remind humanity about justice and the fellow man, just the fellow man. What does that mean? We've forgotten what that means. Not an aspect of the fellow man, but everything about the fellow man to life. So I'm going to do it for him. I don't know how long you're going to be able to kick about for. I'll pray to the angels to give you a good innings, to give me a chance to sort it out for you, so you can walk back into bed before you reincarnate in your next life. I've gone a bit mad with this world. The world tells us spirituality doesn't exist. But I kind of believed it for a lot of years. And it was my hobby. But I never knew it existed. I mean, I believed it existed. We believe in God, but do you know God exists? Do you know God exists if you believe in God? Or if you don't believe in God, do you know God doesn't exist? Both of those answers are no. The same way I didn't know, like, this is wood. If I knock it, that's wood. No questions. When it comes to spirituality, my spirituality consisted of this sick world to look at in the first place, hiding the beauty of the world, nature, our fellow man conditioned to this first one, totally forgetting this one, at least in most of the world, a lot of the world, and spirituality being hidden to weekend workshops and any personal views on spirituality I could find online. Unfortunately, I'm not a good reader. I've not read a lot of books in my life. So it's just been really experiential, but I love spirituality, so my awareness is always open to it. Everything is spiritual. I'm decoding everything as if it's spirituality. As I said, what were the first ones? We've got a sick world hiding a beautiful spiritual nature with the people that need the nature for spirituality, really, which gives us all the energy in the world to perform spiritual miracles. But instead, we're hooked on this sick society, and the people have lost their mind to this sick society, not being able to see this one. That's spirituality. With spirituality, we do not divide ourselves from our fellow man. Therefore, if the whole world is sick in this world, If all the people have lost their minds to this reality, we need this one, but we're in this one. We need this one, but we're in this one. Yeah, I've sort of forgotten. Let's look at my hands again. So we need this one. No, we need this one. But this is everything at the moment. And it's all about this one. Everybody. So what the answer is in 2025, what does spirituality means? It means if you're spiritual, you roll up your sleeves and you get to work sorting the mess out. So we can get this one and this one and these 5. Because that's what the conditioning was. And I sort of lost my mind to that situation because I went to work and, well, trying to sort this mess out. And I've not got far yet. I've not given up. I've gone mad. So how do you know if what I'm saying is true or not? I've gone mad to this situation. That's a fact. But I've gone mad and I've propelled myself in the direction of sorting it all out. What happens, we don't know. But I can't stop. And now miracles happen. So I've sort of lost my mind to what spirituality is. I just became it. I became the problem. I lost my mind to the problem. And in losing my mind to the problem, it's beyond my own life. I don't want to be doing this anymore. It hurts too much. But my bones are wired to it. I'll tell you a quick story. I had grandparents in Cyprus. Cyprus is Eastern Mediterranean. And I'd go back and I'd see them every few years or so, growing up. And my granddad, well, let's just say my dad said to me, when I was younger, your bapu, your granddad, was a real monster. The man's insane, was insane. He lived a crazy, crazy life. And I won't say any more about him, but he was my granddad and I loved him and he loved me. So when I used to go to Cyprus, it's sit down and play backgammon. That's a Greek thing. You got your backgammon and your Greek coffee or your ouzo, or even worse, zivania, spirit, probably a smoke, and you're playing backgammon. So I'm playing backgammon with my granddad, and one of the few things this man ever gave to me that was good advice, good guidance, is a Greek saying, Obos to theli, ogokalo, which basically means however the bones want it. If you go at life enough, with enough energy, after something, after a while, your bones begin, our bones begin to vibrate it. That insanity and pain and bliss of this journey and single-mindedness, after time, starts to vibrate the bones. And if you carry on and you want to stop, you realize the bones aren't going to let you anymore. You're sort of done this way. So I'm on a one-way course to try and clean up the world as much as I can. Am I just going to clean up the rubbish outside my door? Or am I going to knock it over the head, send it straight back to source, and get the Dalai Lama walking back in Tibet so he can complete his mission? That's what I mean. China comes out and says something insane, and I'm thinking about it, and it touches my insanity. So I'm going out the world, and I'm thinking about this now. Is the Chinese Communist Party spiritual? Because if you are, I'd love to chat. I love spirituality. I'd chat with anybody about spirituality.